probably using Tableau Desktop. You are probably, slicing and dicing through data, whether that's SQL Server or maybe cloud data sources, something in Amazon or Google or Microsoft, Excel flat files, you name it, right? And whether you're just kind of dipping your toe in the water or whether you're really, really, really good and you've actually migrated from not just building views that answer questions, but also you are, actually building dashboards for people, right, or for your organization, or to track business results, or for customers or partners, right? You are combining analytical findings into a place and formatting them in such a way that you are driving innovation and impact. That is awesome. That is what Tableau was built to do. But I think this presentation is really about, well, what do you do after this? What do you do when you've had your personal business intelligence or analytical victory at your desk? And I know I struggled with this when I was an analyst of like, hey guys, look at all this really cool stuff that I have built. Because at this point, right, and I'm sorry, I'm just a big Star Trek fan, but like I fear no data. Right? Throw it at me. What do you got? I can parse through it. I can do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. And I love analytics. So I'm at my desk. I'm doing all these really amazing things. I feel capable to answer questions, and I understand what those results are. But again, what is the next step? And we all know sharing is caring. We know that that is a critical part of any business ecosystem is, hey, if I know something, it doesn't matter until I've shared it with the people around me, whether that's coworkers, whether that's management, whether that's partners, whether that's customers. I mean, you name it, right? It doesn't do any good unless other people understand what I have discovered. So let me just take a stab at what I think probably a lot of you do, because this is what we see a lot. I've been at Tableau for 5 years, and before I was a Tableau customer, and I did this because we didn't really have a better option to begin with, or I didn't know any better. But you're using Tableau, you're building amazing analytics, you're discovering insights in your data, and then you do this. You either output a picture, you save as a PDF, and maybe you slap it in a PowerPoint, and then you email it to some folks, because that's just how you've always done it, right? Whether you were in Excel or whether in some other tool, right? This is just how things were done, and you just put it in the thing that gets shown on the Monday analytics meeting or something like that. Or maybe, right, you've kind of graduated to the next step, which is you're saving packaged workbooks. You're actually extracting data, putting it, in a Tableau package workbook. So not just the analysis, but the actual data is going with it, and you're then sending that as an attachment. Regardless of how you're doing this process, there's a problem with that, and that ultimately is that you're emailing. And we all live and die in our inboxes. I get that, right? No one's going to solve the email problem anytime soon. But there's a problem with email and analytics specifically, and there's 3 big problems. There's actually a bunch, but 3 of the big ones are as follows. 1, the minute you send that email with that attachment, the second you click the send button, it's out of sync, right? You just chopped off, right, the ongoing analysis, and it's no longer current, right? It is out of date the second you press send. 2, it's not secure. And a lot of people don't think about this, but email's dangerous, right? Because there's a lot of reply alls, there's a lot of forwards. And if you're sending really critical stuff, you can't control who ultimately sees that attachments, 4 forwards down the way. You can't keep that in your building. You can't do that. And that can be really, really, really dangerous. And so this is actually really important. The more we talk about data security and the more we talk about the flexibility of analytics, but the idea of how do we govern access to that, email is not the way to do that. And then lastly, it's static. And a lot of people think, well, static and out of sync are the same thing. They are kind of, except for the fact that when I think static, I think non-interactive. I think static image. Now, if you're sending package workbooks, you may be getting around this a little bit, but static plus out of sync, it's not great, right? And the reason static is actually such a big deal here is because people learn by asking questions. And so when you send a static image, all they can do is evaluate the image in front of them. They can't ask another question. And for anybody that is actually really interested in this topic, I'm just going to flip over really quickly and point at a little thing that we have called Tableau Drive, which is kind of, we're trying to change how people do analytics. It's not this, ask a question, get an answer a week later, and then just kind of get in this crazy cycle of stuff. We actually think that everybody should be empowered in kind of this culture of analytics to ask and answer questions. So if this is a topic of interest to you, kind of more the broader, hey, how can my organization use analytics? Like everybody, like literally, I send it to my boss, and my boss has the power to dive in and do cool stuff. How do I do that? That's a great one. But anyway, you cut people off at the knees by just sending attachments in email. You don't give them the power to hover over a point and learn more about that data point, or maybe edit a workbook in a browser. You don't give them that functionality, and so that even if they want to, they can't answer their own questions. They can't have self-service analytics for themselves, and that is ultimately should be your goal, right? Is to share those analytics so that other people see your insights, but then collaborate with you to ask the next question and the next question and the next question, and do that in days, in hours, not in this, okay, next week come to the meeting with these spreadsheets and stuff like that. So the trick is you got to share. You have to get out of the I email things to everybody concept, right? And you have to get these analytics in a browser where they're secure, right? And so you do it in a browser, and right now we're seeing a little animated GIF of Tableau Online, right, which is our SaaS platform for really rapidly putting your Tableau Desktop dashboards and data into your site and then being able to share with whoever you want. And you can do that quickly, and then you can do that securely, right? Because the idea is, if you're so efficient with Tableau Desktop, you should just be able to easily and quickly extend that power and share it with other people, like in minutes. And I'm really serious about that. When we talk about using Tableau Online as a way to do that, right? If the goal is to unlock your analytics by sharing and putting other people in the know, some numbers I want to share with you about Tableau Online, it takes 3 minutes to sign up. I mean, you input your email address on our website, and you get an email, and you click a link, and right away you have your own Tableau Online account and space, and you've got 25 user invites in the free trial right off the bat, right? So there's 25 people inside your organization, outside your organization. You can control projects and permission and all sorts of stuff, and there's no limit to the number of workbooks. I can't tell you how many people are like, well, can I only upload like a little bit of data or like a couple workbooks? And the answer is like, no. Upload as much as you possibly want to, like just go crazy. That's what the goal is. So if you are curious about this, one of the things I would highly recommend is checking out Tableau Online after this webinar, or even while you're waiting if you got 2 monitors and I'm talking, check it out. It's pretty cool. So with that in mind, okay, I'm successful with Tableau Desktop. I'm trying out Tableau Online. I'm sharing things in the browser. What are 5 tips for me to be successful? Right? Maybe I'm a little bit new to how this thing works and how Tableau enables people to share securely in their browser really quickly, right? Let's say I've just started my account with Tableau Online. How should I think about this? All right, keep data fresh. This is so important, so important. One of the things that I used to have to struggle with is that I only got to spend maybe 10% of my time actually doing analytics when I was an analyst. I spent a lot of time keeping my data refreshed, right, and going after that. So let's think about this in terms of Tableau Online. And by the way, this link down at the bottom, we have a whole white paper about how to keep your data fresh in Tableau Online. There's 3 big buckets of how I like to think about data and how to keep it fresh in Tableau Online. And one, databases that are already in the cloud. So if you are, using something like a MySQL database in Amazon, or, Google SQL or Azure SQL or Amazon Redshift, or, any number of databases where you're putting data yourself into the cloud, Tableau Online can connect to those and keep them, always live. There's a live connection. The minute it hits that database, if you do something in Tableau Online, it's updated. It's ready to go. The second one is, I think of like other cloud data. And what I mean by this is think like Google Analytics or Salesforce, or kind of cloud applications, if you will, not a database per se, but an application. And there's tons of stuff here, right? There's tons and tons and tons of stuff. And we're always building new connectors because we think you should have freedom of access to your data. The ability for Tableau Online to regularly refresh extracts. And I'm not talking like once a week. I'm not talking like once a day. I'm talking like, you can get really granular here if you want to. And then the last one is data in the office. Now this one usually stumps people because the first thing they do is, they connect to an Excel file using Tableau Desktop, and then they publish that up to Tableau Online. And then I think they have to manually repeat that process every day. And the thing I want to point out is that there is this awesome little tool that we have called Online Sync. And all you have to do is, Google Tableau Online Sync right here, and a bunch of different resources come up. This is our quick start guide, but really it's just a little tiny thing that you download, and you just set it up one time, and it just runs in the background of your computer, and you don't have to ever think about refreshing that Excel file. It just reaches out and does it for you, or that SQL database behind your firewall. And this is really important because, again, the 15 minutes you might spend, trying to manually grapple some data, and then, it only takes a couple seconds in Tableau Desktop to do it manually, but that's the point. Manual operations fail, and then, your data is out of sync, and that's just that's not good. That kind of defeats the core tenet of this. So this is number one, is learn really quickly how to keep your data fresh. And even if you're only updating it once a week, right? You've got some Excel file that updates once a week. Just never have to worry about, well, if I'm out of the office, it's not going to happen, or write some instructions for somebody. Just, check out Online Sync and automate that process and get on to bigger and better things. All right, number two, this is a cool one that not a lot of people really know about. It's saving custom views. So when you publish a dashboard or a worksheet or something up to Tableau Online, this works for Tableau Server too, but we're talking about Tableau Online today, you have the ability not just to tell people they can interact with your view, but people can customize and save their own. Let me show you what I mean by this. If I pop over here, where am I at? There we go. So I'm live in a web browser right now. You guys can see my desktop, and I am palling around inside of a Tableau Online instance, right, my own site here, and I'm running around. I've got a bunch of views here. Let's go look at London home sales. So here is a Tableau dashboard published into a browser. This is a view of home sales in London. And let's say hypothetically, I want to create a customized view for my boss, or my boss comes in. Let's even better. Let's say I am the boss. I'm the boss. And I come in here, and I'm really only curious about a specific subset of homes in this map, and maybe I'm going to select this. This is what I want. And I know that this data refreshes regularly, and I want to be able to say, okay, this is my view, right? Boss view. And I'm going to save that. And now I have the ability to make that my default view if I want to. I have the ability to see, it's actually even captured here in the URL. I can actually share this with other people. Right now, as the boss, I'm logged in. Only I can see this view if I want to. It's not available for everyone else, but I could make it public if I wanted to and save that. And this is really, really cool because you could have a lot of these, right? And this just really helps people understand that you're building dashboards for people to poke at and customize and do all sorts of crazy stuff with. And it's not like they should have to remember the steps they took when they customized a view. They could save that at any point. That's really, really important. A lot of people don't know that, and it's actually really critical to helping people utilize the analytics that you're building with Tableau Desktop using Tableau Online. Oh, here's another one that so many people don't know about. You can build new workbooks in Tableau Online. I'm just going to say that again. You can build totally new workbooks in Tableau Online. Let me show you. We're back to Tableau Online here. I'm going to back up to kind of like that, project view, right? Some people have it looking like this. And if I wanted to come in here, let's say I'm not the boss, but I am a coworker for someone who I don't even have Tableau Desktop. The person who does have Tableau Desktop and is really good has been like, hey, I published a data source, right? Let's go see. There's a bunch of really cool data sources in here. Let's go see. Oh, this is some interesting stuff in here. Let's go take a look at this one right here. Again, I'm in a browser totally. I don't have Tableau Desktop at all. I can create a totally new workbook inside of the browser using Tableau Online. This is so cool, right? I mean, this allows people to have that data flexibility and that, ask and answer questions. And this is permissionable, right? You don't have to give this to everyone. You can do all sorts of stuff. Let's go ahead and blast this out to here. I could do something where maybe I also want to see sales again, but we talk about the complexity of table calculations and how powerful they are, and I could do that. And this is normal Tableau hacking through and doing cool stuff, and I'm doing it right in the browser. So easy, so simple. you can do this, right? You can be up and running in 3 minutes and then giving your coworkers the power to use your data, not just your workbooks, like your data that you've cleansed or, whatever, published live, and create new workbooks. Cool stuff, right? And then if I'm done, I don't want to save, right? You've got all that cool control. Okay, that one is, for me, that's one of my favorites to show off. That's a huge one. Number 3 is a huge one. Number 4, embed your analytics. So here's the other thing. So we talked about not using email, which, by the way, you can always sign up for email alerts. Let's see if I was going to go, I'm going to sidestep here just a little bit. Let's go in here and look at Workbook in Tableau Online. If my goal is that my boss does get analytics every Monday, but I don't want to send attachments, right? They can subscribe to get, an email update whenever they want with a link to the live view, right? It has a little PNG in it too. So you can get the best of both worlds, because again, some people just want what they want, and that's okay. But let's say the goal is not for people to be in email at all. The goal is I've got an internal website, or I've got an external website that people log into that I don't want people to come to the Tableau Online interface. I want them to go to the portal or the website that I've already built for them. It is so easy to take a view that's published to Tableau Online and just copy paste some code, I'm going to do it right now, into an external website. So I've got a little blog here set up, and I'm just going to create a new post, and I'm going to switch to HTML, and I'm going to call this Tableau Online Test Embed. I'm going to Control V, and that's that code. I don't need to know any of this. All I just need to do is Control Copy Paste, click Publish, and let's view the blog. And there's that view. Let's just go back and look at what I did really quickly, right? This view that got published at Tableau Online, I just clicked Embed Code and Share, and in like 30 seconds, I've got it live. And this is fully interactive, guys. I mean, this is equally as interactive, and all the abilities to do the normal stuff here. You can do a bunch of crazy stuff here. So people don't realize that it's not just about putting analytics in a web browser. It's about making sure that the people who want to engage with your analytics know where to go. And if you already have a spot for them to go, then put it there, right? Use the portals that you've already got. That's really, really, really important. And then last, get creative. And this one's nerdy. This one's a little more technical, but I think it's really important. And it kind of comes on the heels of embedding analytics. So it's, as we talk about how we filter analytics, or how we give people those customized views, or how we embed inside of portals, you have a lot of flexibility, right? And this isn't even the extent. This is just kind of one example. But let's say hypothetically, somebody just says, look, I just want a URL that I can customize. I mean, it's always going to show me one thing, right? I don't want to have to log into a thing. Just send me the URL that I want, right? And they care about, in this case, we've got website traffic, and all they care about is, let's say, Oceania, right? So like Australia and stuff like that. You can actually even customize things at the URL level. If I can spell this right, it should work. Right, so there we go. I didn't even have to click a button here. I could just start forwarding this URL to folks, and then again, they would have to log in. But this is just another way to be really, really, really specific around how you are providing customized analytics for folks. Because again, the idea is you may have this uber view of the entire world, right? You may have all this flexibility. Some people, right, they may want interactivity, but they may not want to engage and have to click through a bunch of stuff. They just kind of want what they want. And the goal of Tableau, right, whether you're using Tableau Desktop or you're using Tableau Online, is just give people the flexibility to engage at their level. And what you will find, I guarantee you what you will find, is that people will start to kind of come towards you, or kind of walk up the ladder, if you will, in terms of their willingness to engage. I've seen organizations where they start to roll this out, and for the most part, people just kind of, look at the thing. Maybe they hover on it, maybe they don't. Some people don't even really do anything other than look at the email, and you can't force people to change that behavior. But then a few people start to ask more questions, and they start to say, well, what if I create my own view because I just care about a certain part of the world? in a certain way. And then they start to ask more questions, and then they maybe click edit for the first time. And all of a sudden you have someone who is starting to ask their own questions. And the really critical part about this for you, the Tableau Desktop successful user, is that they're doing that largely without asking you to do a bunch of work for them. Right? It's not about a change request that goes into the queue anymore. It's about, oh my gosh, this is live, it's in the web, it's good to go. And suddenly people are asking and answering their own questions without needing me holding their hands, right? Maybe you hold a session and you teach them how to fish, right? And that is what we see a lot of. And I'm just going to flip back to this because ultimately what I just described is, how a lot of times a culture of analytics gets started. But again, this is down the road a little bit. What I'm talking about here is literally if you're using Tableau Desktop and you're building analytics and you're looking for ways to just, how do I amplify that success? You get it in front of people, right? You take 3 minutes to sign up for Tableau Online and you start leveraging the power of cloud analytics, right? Whether you're just showing people dashboards or whether you are letting them edit or whether you are, letting them publish data sources and doing connections and all this other stuff, then boom, you have just taken your bandwidth and then amplified it in a tremendous and really powerful way. And that makes you more strategic. And that's ultimately the goal when we think about analytics. And that knowledge worker is your brain should be focused on the smart things, right? And not making Australia red or, customizing this to a bar or something like that. I mean, people know how to do that. You can train them in 30 seconds how to do that inside of a web browser. All right, so we've only got a little bit of time. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip over and I'm actually going to start looking at some questions here. But just before I do that, just to recap, the goal of all of this is to broaden the impact of your Tableau Desktop success. It is just the first step to start being successful in your own desktop. And you got to think about getting out of email, and you got to think about getting into the browser. Right? Just 3 minutes, all you need is an email, get started. And the tips for doing that, just think about keeping your data fresh. Think about how you can customize your views, right? Think about what your boss wants to see. So think about what your coworkers want to see. Not what you've built, but what they want to see from that. Think about building in the browser, right? Think about yourself. Think about going into a meeting and not having your laptop, but just an iPad, and you're logged into Tableau Online and you hit edit, and you're just in a meeting, right? Just, going to town. Think about embedding your analytics, and then get creative. Right? Start to go down that rabbit hole a little bit of like, hey, what happens if I start to tweak a few things, embed parameters or URLs, if you're comfortable with that. It's not for everyone. Some people really like to get into that. Okay, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and go into some Q&A. Don't forget to try a free trial of Tableau Online. It literally takes 3 minutes. Cool. Let's go ahead and take a look here and see what we got here. So we have a question about, what software language is Tableau Online developed in? And the cool thing about this is because it's browser-based technology, it's all HTML and JavaScript, right? There's no Flash, there's no Silverlight, there's no plugins. It's not like you're going to be someone's going to log into the Tableau Online site and suddenly be prompted to update Java or anything like that. It just is HTML and HTML and JavaScript, and it's just perfect and beautiful and interactive. You don't have to worry about it. Let's see, some conversations around, hey, if I don't have Tableau Desktop, how do I use Tableau Online? And this is a really, 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 really important question. I should have answered it up front. You always need at least one copy of Tableau Desktop to use Tableau Online. You always have to use Tableau Desktop to connect to your first data source and then publish that up, right? It's where you do the first building. It doesn't mean you do all your building in Tableau Desktop. Obviously, I showed you how you can do more in Tableau Online, but you always need at least one copy of Tableau Desktop. We have customers that have one copy of Tableau Desktop and 400 seats of Tableau Online, and the majority of their people are actually doing analytics, like building new analytics in Tableau Online. We definitely have that, but you always need at least one copy. That's a great question. Let's see here. We've got some great questions. Oh, this is a really, really, really good one. How does security work when embedding Tableau Online dashboard into external portals and things like that? I've actually got an example I'm going to flip over and show you guys right here. So imagine this scenario. Imagine that there is, oops, that's not what I want. A scenario, oops, if I go back here. I don't have to log in, but I'll walk you through it. Imagine I've got a password-protected website where my customers and my partners log in. How do you handle security for that, right? Do they have to log in again? They have to re-authenticate using Tableau Online? The answer is no. You can use SAML. You can, whatever your IDP is, you can effectively tell Tableau Online to trust your website security, and that way people don't have to dual authenticate. So there's a lot of we've made it really, really, really flexible. Tableau Online can be the sole authentication mechanism as well, right? I mean, you can custom build your own permissioning inside of Tableau Online, but the goal is if you've already got something built for your website or your portal, just use it. It's fine. That was a really great question. I'm glad someone asked that. Let's keep going here with questions. I've got like 1 more minute left, and so I want to make sure if there are any here. Okay. A question around can I embed into SharePoint, right? So not an external portal, but maybe you've got like an internal SharePoint or a wiki. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Literally, you saw me just copy and paste some HTML and JavaScript there. Anything that can handle a web frame, an iframe, whether it's SharePoint or a wiki or Jive instances, or we have people embedding into Salesforce. I mean, there's no shortage of ways to get your analytics in Tableau and published on Tableau Online embedded wherever you want it. It's very straightforward to do, and most people are really surprised at how easy it is. Okay, well, it looks like that we've got most of the questions taken care of, and miraculously, I have managed to stay under 30 minutes. That is usually a feat I do not accomplish. Clearly, I love this stuff a lot. I wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who has attended today. Absolutely, we will be, sending out slides, and there's a recording for this. And my thanks to Megan, our moderator, for setting this up and getting it on my calendar and inviting everyone to the webinar today.
Thanks, Dustin. I do have to say before we end, I signed up for the Tableau Online trial yesterday and was literally publishing my first dashboard in like 2 minutes. It was quicker than I expected. So I encourage everyone to do the same. So I'd just like to thank Dustin for his presentation and thank everyone for joining today. Look for an email from us with a link to the recording and the slide deck that Dustin presented. We hope you'll start sharing your insights with Tableau Online very soon. And with that, have a great day.